Coming up in the news, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of State for Grand Bahama optimistic about the upcoming year. Also, the officer in charge of Grand Bahamas sharing challenges post-Hurricane Dorian. And 3 young men accused of breaking into a prominent grocery store hauled before the courts. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening all, and Shashina Wool-Parkinson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping the news tonight, 2019 was a difficult year for many. And with just 2 days remaining before the start of a new decade, the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of State for Grand Bahama are sharing why they're optimistic about the year ahead.
We've demonstrated we can do this, and I believe that 2020 is going to be a successful year for us.
Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable K. Peter Turnquist, says he is optimistic about 2020. He says despite having the setback of the catastrophic Hurricane Dorian in 2019, infrastructural developments will continue along with the assistance during this recovery period.
Several programs that are going on with respect to assistance to homeowners, assistance to business and private sector, as well as the infrastructure rehabilitation that needs to happen. So overall, we have a roughly, I think it's 200 to 300 million that is going to go towards infrastructural development. That is building back schools and clinics and roads and seawalls and all of these kind of things that need to happen. That's between here and Abaco.
Minister of State for Grand Bahama, Senator the Honorable Kwesi Thompson agrees. He says small business grants will be distributed throughout 2020 to help spur economic activity.
We've also spent a lot of money with respect to the Small Business Development Center. The Development Bank has also been doing a lot of work. The Bahamas Venture Fund has also been doing a lot of work. So we believe that when it comes to small businesses, a lot of work is being done with respect to helping small businesses.
And Thompson shares another reason why his outlook for the upcoming year is positive.
Looking forward to the construction industry moving forward. Post-Dorian, we believe that there's a lot more construction activity that's going on, and we believe that there's going to be even more when those projects get on stream. The government has also embarked upon a major cleanup project. So there's millions of dollars that has been contracted for cleanup in Grand Bahama as well as cleanup in Abaco. And again, that's money that is going into the economy. That's money that's going into the hands of Bahamians in order to do that major cleanup for both islands.
But ultimately, they believe that the strength of the Bahamian people and all relevant stakeholders will help to make the upcoming year a successful one.
There's also a lot of hope that residents have. There's a lot of that spirit that Grand Bahamians have, in that they are not going to give up on Grand Bahama, no matter what it looks like.
Recovery has been long. We have seen the success and we've seen the eventual turn. So we know it can be done. It's going to take a bit more commitment and resolve from us to continue to be optimistic and hopeful and to do our part. All of us, government, private sector, individual residents, to do our part. But again, we've demonstrated we can do this, and I believe that 2020 is going to be a successful year for us.
Well, the government of the Bahamas continuing efforts to assist Bahamians post-Hurricane Dorian. The Bahamas National Recovery and Reconstruction Trust Fund was established to provide residents impacted by the storm with up to $10,000 in grant money per household to assist families with building supplies or labor, or a combination of both. Managing Director at the Disaster Reconstruction Authority, Kay Forbes Smith, says what is important now is for social services and the Ministry of Works to complete their assessments in Grand Bahama and Abaco.
It will give us the kind of data that is necessary for us to decide who has minor, major, destroyed, so that, there's a fair an equitable way to give out these grants. And I think the Prime Minister has announced that the process is $2,500 for those persons can get up to $2,500 for minor damages, and then you go up the scale to medium and moderate or major and then destroyed. But basically you can either get $25,500, $7,500 and up to $2,000, up to $10,000 really.
Now, Smith says that for many it has been a long process, but they're moving as quickly as possible to assist as many Bahamians as they can.
A lot of NGOs, international NGOs on the ground doing great work. You have the Rotary clubs that have just done some repairs in the Hawksbill community, and all of these NGOs are in the country at the pleasure of the government and working with us as well. Then you have GEMS, another group out of Abaco, who we will launch a home repair program with them in the first week in January, and they are a donor that wants to do home repairs in North Abaco. You have Samaritan's Purse on the ground also doing work in the community and working with home repairs as well.
Well, like many on Grand Bahama, the Royal Bahamas Police Force is also still recovering from Hurricane Dorian. In this report, the police chief is sharing some of the challenges the department faced as a result of the monstrous storm. Italia Hall has more.
The Assistant Commissioner of Police, Samuel Butler, says he cannot forget Hurricane Dorian as he reviews 2019. To date, 10 persons are confirmed dead as a result of the storm, and 22 persons remain missing. ACP Butler says the storm was a difficult period for the entire police department, and he commends all of the officers for stepping up, even in the face of danger, to do what was necessary to preserve life.
The police department did not do that alone. In fact, we were not able to do it alone. And so I have great gratitude for the number of persons from this community who brought out their resources, who brought out their jet skis, who brought out their small vessel, who loaned a high payload or a tractor bed moving vehicle. Without them, we would have had a different Grand Bahama today. And I'm really, really gratified to those persons who step up to the game. We were out there with them, and some of those we actually called from the safety of their own homes, and they responded.
He says while technology provided some insight as to what could have possibly taken place, he did not realize that the storm would cause so much destruction.
I'm sure that as a community, as stakeholders, we would find time to really sit and do a post-mortem of it and speak definitive to things that must change, definitive things that must be in place for such eventuality. And so, I mean, just as an example, I mean, while there exists jet skis and small vessels, they were not necessarily among our strong inventory. If we had one or two, and we were almost thinking there may be a possibility that you may need.
But the police chief says one of the greatest challenges for the department was the loss of some 60 police vehicles that were underwater.
Despite our best efforts, they were gone. There was nothing we were able to do with those. They were gone. And we're happy for the support that we got in terms of directive to be able to go and rent some vehicles that were available. And we use those, and we've already received 2 fleet of vehicles. They're not to the numbers where we were, but we're optimistic that we'll get there shortly.
Butler says going forward, more planning will be done ahead of the 2020 hurricane season so that this northern island can be better prepared. Italia Hall, Zenith Network News.
There is good news tonight for our listeners of ZNS 810 AM. The service has been restored and 810 AM is now back up and running on your radio dials. Radio services were down for the past 3 months after essential equipment was damaged during the passing of Hurricane Dorian. Now, Power 104.5 was also impacted by the storm, but you can continue to access that station and all other ZNS programming via the ZNS app. In other news, Hurricane Dorian may have devastated the lives of many on this island, but for some, the storm was said to be a blessing in disguise. Last month, a group of medical professionals known as the Unknown Medical Crew, whose focus is on rendering medical assistance to disaster-stricken areas, came to Grand Bahama to offer free medical care. Well, tonight, one of their patients is receiving a Christmas miracle. Jamila Mizik has the story.
53-year-old Anthony Nesbitt is a carpenter by trade, but has a medical condition that is affecting the quality of his life. Anthony is unable to see with his left eye and has only tunnel vision in his right eye. But it was not until a neurologist with the Unknown Medical Crew discovered that a black mass on his brain was the cause.
One of the doctors, he checked me out and said that, I actually need the surgery. Because and I saw they wanted the surgery that they get. They do the surgery, right, but they cut your head open. I really don't want that, So the surgery that they would give me now is the one that they go through the nose and they deal with the mass itself.
The woman who facilitated the Unknown Medical Crew, Bernadette Johnson, says while they were in Grand Bahama, they saw many different medical cases, but Anthony's was a unique one. The physicians decided that something had to be done, and now, thanks to the crew, Anthony will be receiving the much-needed surgery.
It took them about a month to get it all sorted out, and then they came back to me with the good news that they found a doctor in Orlando, Dr. Gandhi, and also the hospital, Advent Medical Care in Orlando, that wanted to help. And they are now taking care of the surgery 100%, which is great because when we looked up how much the surgery would have cost, it ran into about $125,000. And this is all going to be taken care of for Anthony this Christmas. This is his Christmas gift from the Unknown Medical Crew.
Anthony's sister Valone Nesbitt Ramming says his family is very excited for her brother to receive the surgery, one that she feels he is truly deserving of.
He is basically, he's like the second dad for us. So not only just for us, but a lot of persons in the Bahamas as well, because he'd worked many, many years as a humanitarian, fixing homes, and he's carpenter by trade. And so he's worked on different islands. They get him, so they have groups that come down and he spearheads it. So now all of those years of him giving back, this is like so exciting for us because now we're able to see that coming back to him in a major way.
Anthony says he's extremely grateful to the Unknown Medical Crew and especially to God.
I thank those guys as much as I could, really appreciate what they're doing. I can't really even tell you how much I appreciate it, So, I didn't know what happened, but since it's happening, thank God. And that's the only person I can say that actually did this.
Jamila Mizik, Zenith Network News.
What a beautiful story. Thank you, Jamila. Stay with us. There's more news on the other side of the break.